Well, thank you so much for dropping by and thank you for messing with the emotes. That's really cool. I'm so glad you guys have worked that out. I had no idea you could even do that. So that's wonderful news. And thank you so much for your resubscription, Steve. I really appreciate that you did that. And it's lovely. It's lovely to be here, and it's lovely to do all this with you guys. So welcome, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. And lurking. This is so funny, Brian. Now he's squashed. It is totally fine, by the way. Hello, Christina. Hello, Brian. Hello, Dreamlab. Hello, Joe. Hello, Rod. Hello, Steve. Hello, Julia. And anyone else who's out there watching or lurking, that is totally fine. Rod and Joe are thinking about lurking. That is the kids' term of people who watch a stream but don't get involved in the chat. That's totally fine. That is, a valid form of entertainment in the 21st century, which is, I believe, where we are right now. Steve isn't up for streaming today, and I can totally understand that. I'm not really in a big mood of being productive myself. We had a bit of bad news earlier this morning. Julia's bike was stolen. Do you remember my bike was stolen a few months ago? And it's just so sad when that happens. And we came out of a physiotherapy appointment at Lincoln Road, and my bike was there, and it was locked on, and Julia's bike was gone. And we're looking at it like both looking at the scene and thinking, what? And it's just this moment where your brain doesn't quite comprehend, and you expect a scene to look like a certain thing, like with two bikes parked there and one of them is gone. And you think, but why? How? What? This is terrible. So yeah, it's absolutely scumbags. That is exactly the word I would use. And bastards. Absolutely. Those absolutely up there in the top 10 of what we like to call people. It's one of those things. It's crazy. So we bit the bullet and thought, hey, the best remedy against such things is to go out and buy another bike. And we just ordered it. We literally came into the door and bought another bike. Well, I had put the order in. So there we go. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Julia's going to have a nice matte purple bike, same brand, Electra Townie 7 gear. It is sad, but it's one of those things. It just has an effect on the overall mood when that happens. One of those things. We're going to do more animations today in Polygon City. Joe, let me just explain the subscription thing. On Twitch, there's a difference between following and subscribing. And following is that little heart icon at the top right corner. And that is to basically bookmark a person, and you get a notification when they go live if you wish, and that's a follow. And Twitch also has a thing called subscribing, and that is financially supporting the creators like me. Some creators have the subscribe button, and you can pick to spend $5, $10, or $25 a month, and in return you get no adverts on my channel, and you get to use those little rat emotes literally anywhere on Twitch, because you're a subscriber. And if you click that button, then you can subscribe to me, and you get that nice little notification there, which I hope I have fixed when I'm on this scene. Well, that's terrible, isn't it? That's not the scene I was going to show you. This kind of scene. And I hope if somebody subscribes or follows now, we get the audio notifications, which were disabled, in fact. So there we go. That is how that works. Dreamlab, you said you liked the stonemason city there, and absolutely, we've built something that is, I believe, this here. That is, let me see if that is the correct thing. Yes, absolutely. This is the Urban Futures 7 scene, I believe. And that is something we've built in this stream for Steve, because he's starting to stream. And this is what it looks like. This is a 4K version I've rendered there. It has some sparkly sprinkles there. Some images are not denoised, but at the same time, it's not actually that big an issue. This is kind of the newest thing from Stonemason, and I've had that render and animate. So, woo. Oh, wow, you did? Dreamlab Studio just tipped $10. Oh, wow. And I'm showing you the animation in return. This is your $10 reward. Thank you so much. How does tipping work then? Wow, you've worked out how tipping works. Is that something like cheering with bits? Or did you do that in a different way? That's exciting. Thank you so much nonetheless. Oh yes, let's watch it a couple more times here actually. Yes, this rendered literally for 8 or 9 days on one of my render nodes, Steve. It's and it made a mistake while it did that, so it didn't. It isn't actually visible. When I look at the single still images, I can see that there's some undenoised artifacts. But yeah, that was just my GTX 970 literally rendering over a week, and then with my 3D Shenanigans logo at the end there, with people, with background actions and all that. And yes, at a slightly more iterations. I don't know why the logo flickers. I also don't know what the artifacts on the logo are. Those are, I guess, reflections that are half being denoised. So, you know, there are things that are not quite fantastic with this version, but nevertheless, I thought it's a good attempt to try this. So yes, latest stonemason scene, Urban Future 7. Do you know, and it's actually a really good point to bring that up, Steve, because I think that is very good advice for anyone who's thinking about streaming. Some people do it 6 days a week for 6 to 8 hours a day, and it is just so much work to do that. And I read a lot of questions that go into the realm of, hey, shall I do this? Shall I do that? Shall I do it with the webcam? Shall I do it without a webcam? And this and the other. And how often shall I do it? What time shall I stream? And so forth. And I think, and this is really important to remember, first and foremost, it has to work for you. And you need to be in the right frame of mind and in the right kind of mindset and in the right mood to do it, because some days I feel I have a lot to say and I want to really get into something. Some other days I feel like I want to go and crack on with some work, and other days I feel like, hey, it's just today is not the right day to do this. And I think no matter which venture you embark on, creative or otherwise, I think there always has to be that option that it has to work on your terms first and foremost, and then everything else will fall in place. I think if you make sure that constraint is satisfied, I think everything else will more or less work automatically. And I think it's very important to be able to give in to that impulse to say, you know what, today's just not a day. Today's just not a day. And I'm glad you did that. Same with Chris. I totally understand that as well. Chris is busy. He's working away and he says, hey, I don't have the headspace to do this thing. That's, you know, full stop. And that's important to acknowledge that, not push through it and do it anyway. Quitting has to be, not quitting, but skipping a day or two, skipping days of streaming has to be an option. It has to be in there. I have indeed. Oh yeah, Dreamlab, that's a great idea. It could be the mesh in the geometry. I have a feeling it's reflections. I think it's reflections from something surrounding it, because I don't see that if I just look at the mesh. I believe it's actually your remeshed logo. So I think I don't know what it was. Yeah, exactly. And then there's health issues, like you say, Joe, all that is happening in all our lives. So, you know, so today is one of those days for me where I'm going to have to take it a little bit easy as well. And if things don't go as well as planned, then hey, so be it. We can still hang out and we can still, you know, be there for one another. I made another animation earlier. I wanted to show that to you. And this is something I'd like to put into our animation, into our scene as well. It's the dancing FBI agent. So I've already worked hard. I was thinking about cutting out that bit about explaining how to import the Synty characters from Blender into Mixamo and back. And I thought I could do that as a highlight from the stream yesterday, but there was so much editing involved that I thought, you know what, if I just go and bite the bullet and record this again over 30 minutes, then that'll be fine. And I made this in the process. So that's the little guy, you know, dancing away there. FBI agent. So I think since I have him as an asset, we can bring him in and put him into the scene somewhere later. This is a long animation. It's the same move that Elvis made, whom we've put in to the scene already. I've rendered the first 700 frames or so. Let's have a look at it. that's a little animatic that's also on my 3D Shenanigans channel. That is this one here. So this is only the first 700 frames, but we can see the cars and we can see a person walking in there and we can see dancing Elvis, of course. And it works really well. I did spend another hour or so after the stream yesterday tweaking the scene a little bit. So I've activated the skyscrapers in the background. Those are literally 3 concentric circles that I've enabled now, and that brings a nice background there. There's still a little bit of something on the left-hand side that doesn't have material, so we need to work on that. But these are the beginnings of the background action, and if we just do more of that, it's going to look really nice, I have a feeling. That could be Mulder. I also think there's a Trump guy who's wearing a bank in the bank heist pack. There was a guy wearing a Trump mask. It's also very interesting. AFP, that's the same principle, is it, Steve? So yes, more people. I'm thinking on these balconies, on these fire escapes there, I can see a person standing there. I'm not sure how much they need to move, so we may not have to bring in lots of motion for that. They can, if it's just characters we see like there on the fire escape, I think we can get away with just animating them, you know, over 2 or 3 keyframes. So just give them a little bit of motion there. So I'm trying to do that. So I think what I might do today then is where the yellow taxi goes in that direction. I think that is indicative of a piece missing. So that's water, I believe, in the original, and it doesn't have a texture or color applied. So I'll go fix that. I like Elvis. I like 2 police officers standing in front of the police office and just have something like an idle movement. And I think I like to do that. That water and 2 people in front of the police office here, and perhaps another couple of cars going on that road there. I think that's the plan for today. And maybe also that car advert here. Maybe I will change that into my 3D Shenanigans logo. This here on the right hand side. I think I might do that. I think so too, Dreamlab. It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait for this to happen. I'm always looking at how much work it took us to get the intro sequence, the intro title sequence off the ground. But it's just a matter of sticking at it and making it happen that way, I believe. BKA stands for Bundeskriminalamt, and that's essentially the federal jurisdiction that is in charge of crimes committed all over Germany. So there's like in Germany you've got these I don't know what you call them in English, but the Bundesländer. They're kind of little mini states, and they divide Germany into regions. And in the top there's something called I don't even know what it's called in English, actually. Niedersachsen, Bremen, Bayern, those are the regions. And each region has their own police. But then there's the BKA, which is in charge of the whole of Germany. So if an evil dude flees from Bavaria up into the north of the country, then the Bavarian police wouldn't be able to look after him anymore. But the BKA could totally be in charge of him. Counties, that's the right word. That's the right word for it. Thank you, Christina. So I have, let's bring our scene in. Let's load our scene. Let's load our scene up. Polygon City 5 was the latest incarnation there. And let's go and fix that water material and the 3D Shenanigans advert instead of the car advert. Let's do that first. So that's just here, I guess. Let's go have a look at that. The Polygonda, new for 2017. Oh, have I just screwed something up here? Yeah, lock camera to view, sorry about that. There, the Polygonda. I wonder if it's, yeah, it's probably 2 objects. Billboard ads. And we don't really need the normal map here, do we? I mean, there's nothing, there's just tangent space, so I don't think we need to have that connected. No, we do. Look at that. No, we don't. I don't even know what that would do, because there is no normal map in here. Does it do anything, do you think? If I disconnect that, I don't actually see a difference. But then I'm not looking at the rendered view either, so I don't know. Oh, this was Elvis. I had to fix Elvis. Elvis came with a face that looks like this, and then a mouth that, yeah, so the eyes and mouth and eyebrows. And the idea was that they had several variations all on one big texture. So you could see if I can bring it up actually. Yeah, this is it. This is what they've overlaid on top of the face as eye and mouth animation. So they come from the same texture. And if you wanted to animate the eye movements or the mouth movements, you would just change which part of the texture is shown at that moment, and then that's a very cheap way of animating. Not cheap as in not expensive. It's cheap as in computing power. It's very cheap to do that, and some animations work like that. And for that to work, we need both the texture and the transparency map, and I couldn't work out how to do the transparency map, so I ended up removing both of these things from his face, because otherwise they ended up like big black things. So, you know, all of this for $20. I absolutely. This actually, all of this, that was free, by the way. This was completely free. The Elvis thing, that is from Mixamo. Elvis wasn't even in the pack. He's just a guest in Polygon City. But yeah, everything else is $20. Brian's worked out, I don't know if you've seen Brian's post, Brian's worked out that these assets work really well in iClone. And in the sci-fi scene, there is even something like an emission map, so that some buildings actually emit light, and if you plug that in properly, it's awesome. I haven't found that here in this scene pack yet, but you know, I say tons of exciting stuff to come. So billboard ads, this is another one. Let's open that and just have a look at how these things are created here. So they have all the billboards on the same thing, and that's quite cool. So I suppose then, in order to pick a different poster on this object, we would just, I guess, go into the UVs and then just move them over the correct poster, or we could change the UV coordinates. Yes, Joe, you can subscribe at any time, even when I'm off air. But when I'm on air, you get a nice little, you know, notification thing on the screen. But yeah, it doesn't matter when you subscribe. I'll still get it. It's just, you know, if you do it during while I'm on air, then you get a little notification. That's like a little extra something, I guess. So let me fiddle with this, because I'm not really familiar with how to change this. So I could pick a different picture here. That'd be the easiest way to do. Let me go and try that. I have one that's not copied to the correct location. Yeah, let me do that first. Yes, it's not exactly in the downloads folder. I believe it's just on my desktop, and it's this here. That's a nice little advert. I can use that for now, and that's just lurking around on my desktop. I don't really want to have that happen. I'm going to put that into the proper Polygon City here, and I've got a textures folder inside the blend folder, and these are unpacked textures from Blender, so I might just go and put that in there. 3ds animation comp. I might even rename that. I'll just call that 3D Shenanigans poster. Poster. Do you know, that is a great idea. A video on how to put these assets into iClone. That is absolutely right. I love the asset store. They have so many cool things. I've looked at the farm today. That is, I think that's 50. And the detail in that scene, unbelievable. There's another one, the office scene, unbelievable. It could well become my new favorite go-to asset store. Oh, Christina, also, I've recorded a video. You mentioned that in a comment yesterday about how to get rid of these grayed out, no longer existing favorites. And I took that opportunity to make a video about it. Didn't get a chance to edit it yet, but it's there. It's there. So thank you so much for that tip. It did not go unnoticed in the heat of the moment. Blend files, textures, 3D Shenanigans, poster, open, and boom. We need to work on, I believe, the size, and that is probably best done, because this is now a totally different size. This is probably best done in the UV editing space, I would imagine. And in this case, I guess we're also going to go and open that. Since we're already in edit mode, I believe a bit of scaling action is a good idea. And just go move that to where it needs to be. Oh, I see. So it also, aspect ratio needs to change. I don't know if there's a better way to maximize this. I'm pretty sure there is. I just don't really know what it is. So eyeballing it kind of works for me right now. Right, yes, exactly, S, and then just go and fiddle with the height. I might actually go and do no, that was all right here. So SY, and I'm not sure why it's not scaling where it's actually scaling from. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. It seems to be scaling from kind of there. That's odd. But hey. I think it'll do. I think it could do with the color correction as well. I think I can probably come up with a better poster thumbnail there as well. But just to see, yeah, look, it's a bit dark. Oh, I see, and it's changed the UVs for all the posters. Ah, I wonder if that's true for all the billboards. Yes, it has, hasn't it? Yes, that is unexpected. So I suppose a better way then is to go and literally go into the texture. They do this because it's easier to process. So there's all the textures for all the billboards are on here. So I believe it's probably better to leave it at that and then just replace the texture and put my 3D Shenanigans logo in that spot where the car was. All new material, that's true. Yeah, all new material for that particular thing. That is also possible. So many options. Let me see if I can wrap my head around this thing called the undo history. Where do I do that? It's probably under, is that here somewhere? Repeat undo history. There we go. Resize, move, and toggle edit mode. I suppose if I go here, then everything should be back. No. What a shame. Let's try again. Undo history. Open image. Yeah, okay, so we need to go and just go back into there. Perfect. Ooh. Yeah. there's so many options. I mean, the good thing here is that the way they've done it is they literally have a little canvas wrap around the objects. So that's funky. I can make use of that. But I'm not in the mood for Photoshop today, so perhaps we'll postpone that to another day, because some of these posters I really want to keep there. But just in the, was this the poster that I was thinking of? No, Big Burger is also good. I like to keep that. See if we can find it while we're just browsing through here. It was this poster here on the right coming up, this one here. Yeah, so how would I do that if I wanted a different material just for this? I mean, I'm not sure if all the billboards are actually instances or if they're objects. I don't know much about that, I'm afraid. Cheapest way would be to just create a plane and just put that just closely in front of it. That'll do the trick. I suppose I can work out if they are in fact instances or not by hiding it quickly, and then if there were instances, all the billboards would be hidden. Hiding, was that H? Yeah. That is still there, so they're not instances. That's good to know. How about unhiding? Alt H, maybe? Yes. Oh, I remembered something. That's exciting. Yes, Joe, I'm asking you, and I expect an answer. You should know all the Blender shortcuts by now. I'm joking. Let's have a look at the water then instead. Water was over here somewhere. I think all this is actually water. It's supposed to be water. Ah. They look like water tiles there. Let's have a look what that is in regards to shading here. Ah, yeah, so this doesn't have a texture. That just has a base color, and the base color is not showing up, which is interesting. Don't actually know why. Why is the base color not showing up? Fascinating. I see. Thank you, Christina. Let's have a quick look. I mean, let's just like the object that I've got going right now. Let's have a look in the object panel. You're saying if there's a little number 2 plus at the mesh. Is that the object panel? Yes, that's the one. Object data properties. You mean here? This would be where that is, right? Like on materials, I sometimes see that that little icon there, the number icon. Oh, that's the green triangle. Oh, yes, okay. And then you're saying, right, that's object data. Oh. Also, I was an object data. So this is object data properties, and this is object properties. Yeah, of course, that's a difference, isn't it? Yes, that makes perfect sense. Oh, Blender, who has invented you? And under geometry data, 29 objects user. Oh, that's the number we're looking at. Ha 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 ha. Right. Okay. So does that mean those are instances then, Christina? Ton, you know, who I know is probably watching the stream. That's probably what he's doing in his spare time. Ton is in hospital right now. I'm concerned. I hope he says he's okay. I've read his little blog post. He says it's just a viral infection. They just want to make sure he's not getting attacked by any other viruses. So they've put him in something like a hyperbaric chamber in Amsterdam, the safest place in Amsterdam, he says. And he's doing fine. He just says, please spare me the 1,000 condolences wishes. I get it. It's sometimes it's if you're popular, that's that it just happens, doesn't it? So yeah. I hope he's doing well. If you are watching, Ton, we wish you the best. And we're not angry with you for having designed Blender this way. We love Blender, really. It's just, sometimes we think, help me. So the billboards are instanced, did you say? Is that what this means? That little number 20, in this case, this is the water that we're looking at. Unreal water. With the base color that isn't actually showing up. There's also the subsurface color. Can make that blue as well. It's just not showing up. I don't know what's going on. Yes, that is a very good point, Joe. That is a very good point. We have the endless shenanigans we call the global time zone change again. And for us, this happens from Saturday into Sunday already. So that's going to shake up our global schedule quite a bit. So I'll be on tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then I'm going to be working Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I'll be back on Wednesday. What for us is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is an hour out. So we're going an hour, I always forget that, forward. So we're going an hour forward. So that means in the rest of the world that haven't done the time change, I'll be an hour earlier. I don't know. I'll never understand. I'll never understand that. Earlier, I think so too. Until then, the rest of the world catches up. So yes, that's a good point. So this is a good point in regards to sticking with the Google Calendar. I'll put in my my times there. Why do you think we can't see anything on the water? Why is the water black? Even if I go into rendered mode, the water is now invisible even. Which is weird. It's almost like it's not quite there, or there's an alpha map in there. Oh, there we go. It was cranked to 0. Huh. Just answered my own question there. In that case, we can put the subsurface color to nothing because we're not doing subsurface anything. I suppose we can just make it a dark blue in case we do want to play with that effect there. But also, if this was the water, I suppose that might be a little bit too light blue now. Maybe I'm going to make it just slightly more like a darker blue, because they just have very nice water there wherever they live. Cool. And this is actually nice that we talked about this. So all these material instances change at the same time. That's very good. I like it. And in the Eevee preview, got some building work going on 9 months of the year in our house. That's the drilling that you hear next door. Uncool. That is a great idea, Christina. Let's have a look at that. That might well be the cause of trouble there. That might just make our scene look much better, like these ones here, right? This is a really good day for that. I'm up for just random material tweaks. I like that. Let me go and save this as a new version. I just learn a little bit more about why these things are happening. Since they do show up in Eevee, I'll go back to this preview here. Office building square base. Yes, so this is also alpha is also on 0 here. I wonder if there is, if I just plug that into the alpha value, if that now, no, that didn't do it. Maybe there is a special alpha map that could be like a transparency map. This is the polygon city texture normal. Really? That's the normal? That shouldn't really be the normal also goes into the, hang on a minute, I'm gonna have to look at that. So it's called normal. This is what that looks like. Is it? Polygon city texture normal PNG. Why would that be in the glass windows here? That can't be right. It is also going into the normal map, but I don't think it should be going into there. I bet we're going to use a different texture node for that. Texture, image texture, and we're going to pop that in there, and we're going to put just the regular polygon city texture, like this one maybe in there. And then at least the doors at the bottom look the same. Not that they're reflective or anything. Good point, Christina. We should, yeah, we should do that, Rod. Let's trade. Rod gets wrap, we get building works. It's hilarious. I think the apartment next door, that way, that was remodeled 3 times in the last 2 years because people have just, they buy something, they go, oh, it's terrible, it needs to be all redone. Oh, let me just quickly sell it. Oh, actually, I don't want it. And somebody else goes and buys it and goes, well, I don't want to live in a place like this. That needs to be all redone. You go, oh my God, just buy the place that you want to live in. How's that? Hey, novel thought. Crazy. Let's see if we find any other black spots in our architecture here. Well, that looks much better. I had assumed they thought of putting some reflective glass materials in there, and that map hadn't quite loaded, or it wasn't quite set up that way. Because I don't mind the buildings looking like that. That's okay with me. It's just that when they're black or when there's something that looks like it shouldn't be as it is. Like I have a feeling something's not quite right with the road either, because it's got one color on this side and one color on the other. Do you know what I mean? It's not, that's something's missing here. I can see some Z fighting here. Always good to take a look at that. So the normal goes into the normal map, that's correct. And then this is also, I'm just going to change that to the regular polygon city texture, just png.001. Looks like it's the correct one. So Z fighting, that's not something we can do with the material. I just don't know what's going down there. I like it. Rod's Renovations. I think there's isn't there a TV show called Flipper? Not the 1960s one, but the one in which you buy houses and then do something to them and then sell them again. That sort of flipping. Just checking if there's anything that jumps out during our whole camera animation here. Water's in the background, that's nice. Any black spots that are jumping out? Flip it, that's the one, yes. There's probably a simulator app for that. Yeah, I wonder if there's something going on with these roads here. If there's something not quite right that I can't quite understand, maybe. So they seem to have the same material here. That one and that one. So I don't see a difference in material here. Yet I see a difference in appearance. So that leads me to believe that maybe this whole texture isn't actually the correct one. Polygon city texture. I'll go and put this one in. See if that does anything. It does not. Oh, hang on a minute. It doesn't actually want to go in there, I've just noticed. It uses this one, but if I go and open that one, then it doesn't appear in there. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why that is. Now it does it. But it hasn't done anything. It hasn't made a difference to the road. I mean, I don't care that much. It's just something that I've noticed, you know. It's a game. That's what I thought. I thought it was a game. I remember a colleague of mine back in the UK, he quit his job because he did that with one property, and then he realized, hey, there's more money in this if I keep doing it. I don't know if he's still doing it, but yeah, it's that's what he used to do. What else did I want to do? Now that we've fixed the water and some black windows, and of course it's time to hit the save button again, what else shall we do? Let's see if we can put a couple of idle policemen talking outside the police station. I was thinking of... That's crazy. This is not what Elvis looked like. What did I do to his face? I may have just switched this off for rendering, but left it in the viewport. That's bizarre. I've got a second camera here as well, which is the stills camera. I'll go and switch to that with under maybe object, select, maybe select active camera. Is that it? Perfect. No, come on, stills camera, and go and cameras, set active object as camera. That's the one, exactly. So where is Elvis? Come on, we need to see Elvis. There's a lot of pelvis here. Oh, come on. That's pathetic. Oh, he's over here somewhere, is he not? Come on, over here somewhere. Dude, why am I in edit mode? There's Elvis, perfect. So if I go to this camera, and then I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do that, perfect. So this, I've just switched that off yesterday. I don't know if it's still, if it's showing in the render. It shouldn't have, because I don't think I've changed that, not to my knowledge. Perfect. So I've just hidden the overlays, but I guess I've only done that in the render and not in the viewport. So in this view, he looks a little bit crazy. He's in people, isn't he? Character Elvis. And yes, I've only switched that off in the render. So I'll do the same in the viewport so that we have a cohesive experience here. Whew. Okay, my God. So these policemen, I hope I can remember how to do that. I'll go and save my scene here and go and create a brand new scene. And I'll see if I can go and import these policemen. I'm also like to take this opportunity to grab an animation for one character and then apply it to another character without putting him through Mixamo, just assuming that the rigging is the same. Let's see if that works. So Polygon City, I'm sure they have a policeman there. Male police, and there's female police. Nice. So we have a man and a woman. Let's do that. Let's use the male guy to put the animation on, and then we're going to use the woman to export her as well and try to apply the same animation without putting her through Mixamo, just in Blender. That might be a nice idea. Let's do that. So the first thing we'll do is bring in our police guy, which looks crazy. And just like I explained that yesterday, we're just going to go reset the pose, and here's our policeman. Then in shading, we'll go and find his actual texture. Oop, got to go out of pose mode to be able to select the character. And then we'll have a look at his texture. File 283, Polygon City texture all 1C. I believe, do we have that? Oh no, that's a different file, wasn't it? Yes, of course it was. Of course it was. Texture all 1C. Policeman. All right, that's nice. Good man. Let's go and export you as FBX into Blender exports. I'll call you police man. I don't want the animation. And geometry that's all good. Transforms and includes, but armature needs to be set to the root and do not add leaf bones. I think that's what it was, wasn't it? I think that's what it was. Export, excellent. Synty store, very exciting. And let's see if we can upload our character here. That was the FBI agent I had earlier there. Polygon City, Blender exports, policeman. Wish me luck. Haha! Policeman has been imported successfully. I like it. So I'm looking for something like idle. Perhaps I'll take two. This one's awesome already. This whatever he's doing with his foot there. Maybe that's what's that. Chewing gum on my foot. Indifferent. I like that. This is perfect. I'll go download that in 60 frames a second because I'm crazy. Okay, so this is idle 1, and I want to make sure that goes in my downloads folder. So that's idle. I'll call that idle 1 policeman so that I know what I did there. And then I guess I'll also put that into my Mixamo exports folder. So policeman 1 goes into here. Samba dancing and FBI agent, I think these were from my test earlier. This is the Mixamo output, and this is the Blender output. So I can use him as well. I might as well put him into the Blender exports thing. That's FBI agent. And then Samba dancing, that was the thing with the FBI agent applied. So I'll put that in here as well, but I'll call that Samba dancing FBI agent. Okay, let's pick another, just with this character, let's pick another idle action, maybe this one here. Well, it doesn't do much, he's just breathing there. It's also a female idle pose with the hands digging into the body a little bit. So I could just increase the character arm space a little bit, and then the arms don't fall into the body that much. Maybe that was a bit much. Oh, I'm sure that's a good idea. Let's see if they have that. Oh, that was the looking around one. That's quite funny. Let's have a look for donut. Nah, what a shame. There's probably eating. I'm sure they have that. No. There's also not eat either. That's crazy. They may have it, I just don't know what to look for. That's possible. Maybe instead of idle, I can also say waiting. Oh, there's writing. That's nice. He's writing at the typewriter. Watering. Oh, yes. That's nice. We have to make our own. Sword not included. So funny. Well, I'll go back to the idle blocks. Yes, idle boxing, also interesting. Maybe this. We'll call this idle 2, perhaps. And then I think I'm going to go for the boxing thing as well. So I'll call this idle 2 policeman. And then while we're here, let's do the boxing thing as well. Which on the download is also just going to be called idle. That's why it's such an important, so important to rename these things. There we go, that's also idle. So I'll call that idle boxing policeman. There. Oh, and then also I'm going to go and put those two things into the Mixamo exports. There. So while we're here, let's test this on a new scene before I do this in my other scene here. Let's go and do it in this scene. I'm going to import the 2 animations, like the 2 idle animations that I've just made. Mixamo exports. So I'll say idle 1 policeman, manual orientation with that, with the armature and automatic bone orientation. Every day, all right, okay. Let's try that next. I'm glad that you're hooked on Mixamo already, Steve. That's very good. I've noticed that if you ever get this, I didn't notice this until I made the tutorial earlier. If the character is selected and you get a really bad preview, like up here, I can see it's now 30, 40 frames a second. If you don't get a full 60 frames a second, just deselect the character. And when you do that, the frame rate goes up, which is nice. I didn't know that. On my character, on the samba dancing, it was like 14, 15 frames, which wasn't great, and I didn't know what to do about it. And as soon as I select the character, or if I have material previews on, this all slows down a little. So as soon as you select something else, just for preview purposes, frame rate goes up. Little tip there. So let's see if I can remember how to create an NLA or an action strip from this now. I believe it's in animation, and in here I'll go to the action editor, and since we don't have a forward motion that we need to take care of, we can just literally go and push this thing down, and that is that. I think that's how easy it is, I believe. Let's go back to this guy, and I'm going to go and delete him. And this as well. With a bit of luck, that action strip should still be there. And I'll go and import the next animation, which was maybe the idle boxing. Let's do that. That should all still be the same, yes? That's that. Unselecting him will make him, well, box, I guess. But the animation was only so long, so that's fine. Once again, we go into animation, and we are in the action editor. Perfect. So we'll go and push this one down as well. So, crikey, let's have a look in the non-linear animation thingy now, where we should see only one. Where's the other one? Yeah, the other one is gone, isn't it? Or is it? If I go and add an action step, no, I've got both of them still here. Okay, cool. They're just not named anything useful right now. Mixamo.com pipe layer 0.001 is technically different from Mixamo.com pipe layer 0, but that doesn't mean I know which one what is. Let's see if we can go and rename those in the dope sheet, I believe. And that is that in the dope sheet? Is that in the action editor? It is, isn't it? There, perfect. So this one, I believe, is just idle 1. I'll just call it that. And then the other one here is idle boxing. Ha ha ha. Both of them at our leisure here. Okay, let's go one step further then and get rid of this guy and bring in another person that we haven't put through Mixamo. For example, the police woman. Let's try that. Let's go and import her into this scene, not with the intention of wanting to export her. We just want to go and apply the animations to this. I wanted to try out if that actually works. So in Polygon City, in characters, in female policewoman, no animation, automatic this, manual that, perfect. She looks crazy, that's fine. Go into pose mode, pose clear all. Hello policewoman, how you doing? Under shading, select character, make sure texture is applied. Polygon City texture O1C, no problem. Polygon City texture O1C. Boom. Policewoman. All right. Nice. Are we all following so far? My brain is getting a little bit, you know, when you get that hot spot somewhere around. Also didn't help, I bumped my head earlier. I've got this massive bump. One of the kitchen cupboards was open and I bent down from doing something at the dishwasher, and that spiky corner just literally hit me somewhere here. I don't know how I feel about this, you know. Crazy. Right, in animation, in the action editor, we have idle and idle boxing. Do you know, but this is a really tricky part of Blender Dreamlab. This is kind of, I can understand why you're confused there. I'm confused. But the good thing is I've worked out how to do it and I've documented it. So that's often, to me, that really makes a difference. Literally spending a lot of time going through this, doing it again and again and taking notes, and especially taking notes of what settings did you use at which point, because there will be the point where I'll try and do this again in 6 months and I'm thinking, I have no recollection how I did this. So I could go and say idle boxing now. Oh, and we get that. That's not good. What happened to my policewoman? So it is character specific then, is it? Even though the rigging looks more or less the same. Where's my policewoman? She's gone. Yeah, that helps, doesn't it? That does help, yes. So okay, that's interesting. She's back. That is interesting. I wonder if we have to just go and export her the same way we exported the policeman and then bring her back in. I didn't think that would make a difference. That's a shame. I had hoped that we could just go and import a different character and apply an animation, because the rigging seems to be exactly the same on all the characters. It's just a different texture there. That is a shame. Our action blocks are still here. That's good. F means, by the way, this is important to remember. F means these things are literally saved. If I were to save my scene, in fact, let's try it out. This means that although no real object in my scene is using it. F means that a fake user is holding on to the reference of whatever's in memory there. I believe if I go and save my scene now, and I'll call that animation test. This should remain in memory. If I just go and say new scene, and we now go to animation and we go to the action editor and we have nothing here because that's a new scene. But if I go and bring my animation test back, do we have, yes, there we go, we have those. Ha ha, that's good. That is good. That's good. Learn something else, just to satisfy my curiosity there. Fake user literally means that if that F had not been there and I had saved the scene, those would be gone. So I'm glad they're still here. Great minds think alike. That is exactly what I was going to try. That's exactly what I thought. This is a good test to do. Let's import the police officer that we originally exported to give to Mixamo and see what he thinks about applying this animation. That's exactly right. Haha, I like it. So that would have been a Blender export, like the policeman. No animation, automatic bone orientation here, and manual orientation here as well. Import him, perfect. So he stands up, that's good. So in animation then, if I go and apply the boxing block, that seems to work. That seems to work. Well then, let's just export the policewoman and just make her a Blender export and import her into the animation test scene. Let's try that, see if that works. Import FBX, Polygon City, characters, female police officer, no animation, bone orientation automatic, manual orientation thingamajig. Boom. Looks crazy. Pose mode, pose, clear, transform all. Awesome. Shading. Out of pose mode, select character. Apply the correct texture, Polygon City texture 01C, Polygon City texture 01C, policewoman, awesome, retains texture, nice one. File export FBX into Blender exports, call her policewoman, make sure don't bake animation, armature, make sure root is selected, do not add leaf bones, export FBX. Now we go open our animation test scene again, don't save the scene, don't need it anymore, with our two animation blocks included, file, import FBX, Polygon City, Blender export, police woman, no animation, automatic bone orientation, manual orientation, import FBX. Hello, police woman, how you doing? Drop in idle boxing block and idle boxing works. All right. Idle boxing works. That is nice. Yeah, woo! So you have to jump through all those hoops. Isn't that amazing? Making the change isn't enough for Blender. You have to make the change, export, then import again for that change to make any sense. That's weird. But I mean, now that we know that, now that we know that, I can just go and literally prepare all characters from this set like that, and then any animation that we take out of Mixamo with no matter which character will then I'll be able to apply them here and just use them like that. That's kind of cool, isn't it? That's FBX for you. My God, yeah. It's not as bad as Collada. It's so weird, isn't it? Because FBX is such a powerful format, but it's just the amount of options that could be different. That there's no. I mean, why not have a little? I don't know, a few parameters that say, hey, this is format X, this is format Y. And I don't know. Might be a skilled Python coder might be able to do that. I don't know if Blender has something along the lines of Photoshop actions where you say, look, hit record and whatever you click, I'll remember and apply to another thing. I don't know if Blender has that. So then this is exciting. This is very cool. Let me go and remove policewoman and her as well, and import FBI agent that I had exported in exactly this way earlier today for that tutorial. That's here, FBI agent. I'll go and import him with auto bone rotation, manual orientation, and boom. He has, I don't know why he has a massive skeleton. I don't know, it just, it just came out that way. It's just, oh, and he doesn't remember the texture. That's because I didn't have him in my hierarchy here. Okay, so texture, well, we'll fix that in a minute. So, but if we go and put idle boxing on him, he's from a different Synty set as well. So this could be interesting. This is from the Bank Heist set, not from the Polygon City set. So it's working. It is working. Let me shrink my animation down to about like 134 frames or so. And I'll go and fix his texture quickly while we're at it here. Polygon Heist, yeah, of course, I don't have that. I have that still in the downloads folder, isn't it? Yeah. So this is something that's a different texture. What did I say? Was it Heist 01? Was it? Yeah, there we go. And then if we select something else, then we have FBI agent without the bones. Nicely done. Christina says no, sadly. Yeah, I suppose that's a part of Blender that I've not even looked at yet in regards to running actions and commands. I think the closest I got was that there is a script you can run. Somebody's written a script and I know how to open the console in Blender, and then you can paste something in there and run a script. So it has that option. And I suppose every object in both the scene hierarchy as well as in the user interface is targetable. So I know that, but it's that my Python is very weak. Oh, really? Thank you, Joe. I'm glad you like him. I wonder if, when you look at the supporters literally above me, there is this little space just above my head. I'd like to have little animations like that going in there every so often, just like standing in place, a character looking around, or like the pimp character walking forwards. I might work on that going forward. That'd be a nice little place to just show off some animations. It would just be funny to have that there. And then speaking of this whole sidebar, above the supporters, right now there's this word supporters, but it's very tiny. So I'd like to create an animation in which the whole word supporters just scrolls through there as an animation. I think that might be cool as well. It would just make this whole setup look funky. I think then let's finish off the day by converting all the other characters into, take them into Blender and export them again from Blender so that we can apply all these animations going forward. It's kind of a bit of housekeeping work, but I like having them in place so that we can use them. So this guy, while we're talking about this guy, we should then also be able to, instead of this animation, get the other animation on him. Instead of idle boxing, let's go idle. So now he's idling. This is a longer animation now, so we need to go and extend that to about maybe here, 197, for it to loop. And then if we go not select him, and now he's just idle. So that works. Command recorder. Ay caramba, mamacita. Product guide. That's a good start. This is a versatile add-on that the moderator thinks and programmer implements. Command recorder has function of records in place. Watch the video for installation usage. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Very nice, something to try. What's a police vet, Joe? A veteran, as in veteran? Let's bring in more characters. I really like this. This is now opening up my brain to how the workflow for these animations is going to work. And I suppose if we have characters that we can just apply blocks to, it'll be literally like picking out animate blocks and just putting them on compatible Genesis characters. It's the 5-second delay, you know, to Australia. I see if I pick general and I use the splash screen, I get the old splash screen. But if I pick file new 3D Shenanigans, it looks exactly the same. But if I go and look at the splash screen, I've got 3D Shenanigans splash screen. I get a kick out of these little things, you know. I know it's sad, but I get a kick out of that. I'll delete everything and I'm going to go and keep importing all the rest of these other characters. I should have a list, really. So we have businessman shirt. We've only really got, but how about, what are the characters that we have in the Blender exports? Businessman 1, FBI agent, policeman, policewoman. I think the businessman we already have then. Businessman shirt, that was probably the first businessman. Let's go businessman suit, manual orientation, no animation, armature, automatic bone orientation. Oh, nice. Welcome back, Rod. So, scrunched up character, no problem, no panic. Pose mode, pose, clear, transform, all. Awesome. Get out of pose mode, click character, quickly apply texture. O1C is the texture we're looking for. O1C is here. Boom! Brown suit dude. Awesome stuff. And export FBX. Business man 2. And we'll go no animation, armature, make sure you select root, do not add leaf bones, and And that's it, isn't it? I believe so. That's it. Pick the correct place. Blender exports Businessman 2. Boom. Okay. Next, please. Import Businesswoman. All right. Oops. Have I selected all the correct bits and bobs? I think I have. I think because it's the same scene. Poser. Blender remembers. Businesswoman. Out of pose mode. Select Businesswoman. O1C. O1C. Perfect. All right. Export FBX. Businesswoman. I don't know if I think there's 2 as well. I'll call her number 1. And this is being remembered. That's very cool. Thank you, Blender. That is very exciting. Thank you, woman. Import next businesswoman, which is female coat. Oh, we only have one businesswoman. Okay, fine. So we'll have female coat, female jacket. So that'll be female 1. In shading, out of object mode, select character, pick texture, O1C, O1C, perfect. And I can just go and export her from here, can't I? Yes, I can. Blender remembers everything. That's very good. So what's she called again? She was just called, I'll just call it woman 1, I guess. Boom. Good point, Christina. I didn't actually. Of course I could do that. While we've got things set up, I might as well do that. That's a great idea. Let's do that, because I currently have the import and export options literally saved the way I want them. Let's see if we can work that out. So under import, this is now everything I've fixed here. Manual, no animation, and armature the way I want it on the import. Blender remembers. Operator presets, restore defaults. We don't want to do that. What do? Just click the plus sign. Plus. Oh, that is very, very helpful. That is really helpful. Let's call it Mixamo export. That makes sense to me. Mixamo export. And click OK. So now I have it selectable. So if I now screw things up here, just by doing kind of the obvious here, and I'm thinking, hey, that's crazy. I'm going to go Mixamo export. Boom! All the values change. That's cool. I like it. That is good. Thank you for the tip. That is a very good, that's a great idea. And let's do the same on the export. Let's go and pick female with jacket. Ha ha ha, this is nice. Female with jacket. Under shading, out of thingy mode, go in here and pick up Polygon City O1C. It's almost like I need to put the whole textures folder here as a yeah, there we go. I'll put that as a shortcut, and then that makes it even faster for me to do this. So she's sorted now. Let's go and do the same on the export. I'll call her just woman, whoops, woman 2. And because everything is set the way I want, including the armature, operator preset plus. Steampunk Belladonna, how you doing? Thank you for joining. We're having lots of fun with Blender. And by fun, I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. It's actually fairly cool. So I called the other one Mixamo Export. I shouldn't have done that. I should have renamed that. I might do that actually, because this is in fact the Mixamo Export, isn't it? That's the Mixamo Export. The other one was essentially the technically they're both the Mixamo Export, aren't they? One is the export on the import. I know that sounds crazy. I'll call this one Mixamo Export as well. That's not going to be confusing. Oh, it wants me to rename this. Pepperidge Farms. They're, in case you don't know, they are kind of a bread and what else do they manufacture? Kind of bread things here. They're a bread brand in the US. Maybe I'll call it Mixamo Export 2. Perhaps that is better. For some reason, I'm not getting. It's written weird here. On the import, I could put spaces. On the export, I can't. But hey, that's just Blender for us. I don't really know why that is. Perhaps it's a little bug. I don't know. It just means it makes my life easier. If I should create a new scene, it'll be all exciting. Get rid of her. Import our next character. We've got the female police officer, but we've got the male and with a hoodie and a jacket. So this one's going to be male 1. You see here, this was fine on the Mixamo export. He was happy with that, but on the export side, he was not happy with that name. I don't really know. There we go. Out of object mode. Give him a quick shading treatment here. Polygon City textures all 1C. Haha, another shortcut comes in handy. Yes, but here it just didn't accept my spaces. I might. I'll call him male 1. Such an obscure bug, I suppose. People who use it, they just go, hey, whatever. We understand Blender. It almost looks like it's not, because it's also defaulting to all lowercase letters. As soon as I type in the name, it just, you know. In all honesty, Christina, I'm scared to report bugs to the Blender Foundation. I like to help out where I can. That was the hoodie. Now comes the jacket. Jacket guy. Out of pose mode. Quickly do the shading thing. Oh, that's now edit mode. Sorry, that's not what I meant. Polygon City 01C as well. It's a very popular texture these days. There he is. Jacket guy. So we call him 2 and go do that. I'm glad you're enjoying Discord, Rod. I'm glad you're having lots of fun with it. It's another one of those things that makes your brain melt, but once it's all set up, you'll be good to go. Okay, I might do that, Christina. And I believe that was all the characters. That was kind of nice. That was all the characters. Let's try to maybe get a couple more animations out of Mixamo and just save them with the current character that I've got on there. So this is the boxing guy. Perhaps I need to refresh so that these things come back here. And then we put those into our animation test scene. That's also a nice idea. Now that we know all these things work, I think we should have another look on, let's do this, the donut eating thing. I'm going to go and see if I can find that every day. Okay. Every day. Let's have a look. Texting and walking. See, this is already perfect. I'll have this person walk in place. And it doesn't matter that it looks a bit female, that's okay. I like this. Let's download this at 60 frames a second. Texting and walking on policeman. I like it. Mixamo export. So this is texting and walking. Perhaps I don't actually. Shall I still mention policeman at the end? Or now that we're sure it kind of works, it almost defeats the object. Maybe I don't need to do that anymore. Idly texting your friends. Perfect. I want that as well. Perfect stuff. Yes, it's true, Steampunk Belladonna, and he says the sad bit is that he's gonna miss the Blender conference in LA, I believe it is. Oh, do you know the other thing? Along similar lines, I mean, it's, you know, I don't want to blow this out of proportion or anything, but TwitchCon in Amsterdam is cancelled due to the coronavirus. So no TwitchCon in Amsterdam. Very Japanese. Oh, walking in a circle is a long animation. That could come in handy. Somebody in a park, maybe. I like that. Walking in a circle. Oh wow! Look at that. I was in Starbucks this morning waiting for Julia, who had a physio appointment, and I usually bring in my own cup, not this cup, but an insulated cup, and you know, to save a cup really, and get a 10-cent discount when you bring in your own cup for coffee. And the woman was explaining to me that she could not possibly accept my cup today, and that there's a piece of paper on the wall that explains that currently they need to give me a paper cup because they have full control of the germs on that cup, but not over my cup, and that would obviously endanger a lot of people. So it's funny what the repercussions of this whole thing are. Risks, exactly. Walrus Pie, welcome. How you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for following. I appreciate that. That's not an animated pose, is it? Do you know, also, poser users, I'm only just realizing, does that little icon bottom left-hand corner of these thumbnails look familiar to you? I've seen that somewhere before. How interesting. Huh. Ah, well. Let's go back to walk, or maybe jog. I'd like to have maybe a jogger or something. There we go, jogging 1. There's another jogging 2. Perfect, I like it. Gimme, gimme, gimme. We'll call that one jog 1, and this is going to be the jog number 2. All right. jogging and jogging forward. Perfect. Let's go and put all those in here. And perhaps then now that we've got a few more animations, let's try it out by opening up our recent Polygon City scene, and let's just see if I can implement one of those and have another person just jog down the road. I think I'd like to do that. Let's start by making our main camera the camera object again. Camera set active object as camera. There we go. Perhaps since we're finishing things off here in the first part of the scene, I don't want to go any further ahead. Perhaps we're going to have a person just jogging towards us here. So I'll hope we can meet them as I come close up here at about frame 304, perhaps. Well, in fact, earlier maybe. Yeah, in the first 700 frames, something like that. So we have our idle, the idle police people. Let's see if we can put the idle police people on the corner. That's what I was going to do. And then maybe we can have one jogger on the other side here, coming towards us. Let's try that. Hot dog stand. You guys need to just stand in place for the whole animation from the beginning to the end. Oh, we don't want to do that. There. Okay, so last time we did this successfully by adding into our people collection here, just get a person. I didn't even know it was a WP emote, but they're very nice. So if I subscribe to your channel, then I'd get that in all the chats, right? I like it. Tempting, very tempting. I must check out your stream. I haven't done that yet. Are you streaming today? Because no one else is streaming today after me. I'll be finished in about maybe 15 minutes or so. If you're streaming after me, let me know. If you're on air at that point, I'll give you a raid. I shall import one of the Mixamo things just to get the animation in. And we'll have idle policeman 1 and 2. So we'll go with number 1. Oh, now I can use my Mixamo thing, can't I? Because that's the same bits and bobs. No, I can't. There's almost the same. All I need is the animation ticked, so I can make another one here. Chris Cox, hello, you cool cat. Very good to see you. I'll call that animation import, maybe. Animation import, that makes sense, right? Animation import, I can put a space. I can say, yeah, look at that. Space works on import, but not on export. Very cool, very cool. I will import Mr. Policeman here. Manual this, manual that, perfect. And Mr. Policeman takes a bit of time to come in. There he is. Just needs a bit of a rename. Policeman. And let's just see where he is. There he is. There he is. So G, Shift Z. I'll go and put him in front of... I could put him in front of the police station or on the street corner here. Kind of eyeing up the Elvis. What do you think? Where's the best place to put the guy? Maybe in front of the police station. Tentatively. So there'll be him. We'll rotate him a little bit to about here. And he'll speak to his policewoman colleague there. So I think I'm going to make him repeat this action for like ever. Has he got the right height here? Yeah, I think he's hovering a little bit. Let's put him down. Oh, there we go. It's just needs to touch into the ground. Sometimes it's also nice to have a look at the fully rendered scene and first of all see that there's some material issue that we need to fix. We do that first, and then we may have to look if the render is actually showing his feet on the ground or hovering slightly. I've had that before. Mr. Policeman, let's have a look at whatever is going on with your alpha map here. Yeah, I don't think we need an alpha map on you, do we? Don't think we do. Oh. The police ghost, that's right. But it looks like he's standing on the ground, so that's nice. That's good to know. Okay, so now comes the interesting part, doing this whole NLA thing. Let's see if I can remember. Select policeman, go into animation. And on animation, we see root. This is all fine. We don't need to tweak that. We're already in the action editor, and we can just go and push this guy down. Oh, actually, I'm going to rename this block while I'm here. I'm going to call it idle 1. Push down, my brother. Non-linear animation. Whew! This is exciting, isn't it? Too many tracks, man. We can collapse a few. So we see him around frame 600. So I need for this thing to repeat until about frame, let's say 800. I believe at that point we're out. So that's not much. That's just a 4 or 5 animations or repeats here. So under action clip, I'll repeat that maybe 5 times. And there he is. Now, what I should have done and what I didn't do is set a keyframe at the beginning. And I didn't bloody do that, did I? Excellent. So I'm going to have to go and place him again because he's gone, man. He's gone. No problem. I shall remember that for next time. Apply NLA first, then put person in place. Gotcha. G-Shift-Z. Put the dude here. I think you needed to sink into here a little bit, and the rotation was kind of okay. Maybe here, like that. And select dude, put keyframe. Since there's no other keyframe. Whoa, what are you doing, dude? While I appreciate you moving around, what are you doing with the whole sinking into the floor thing there? I think so too. Let's move him up again. Let's move the man up again. Turns out probably was correct in the beginning. I think he's still moving more than I want him to. Oops. Oh, dude, come on. There we go. I think for the fact that we see him less than a second on the screen, I think it's fine. And we only need that one keyframe. Let's bring in his friend and another animation, in fact. Another idle animation. So this one is literally a kind of a fake animation. We're just bringing it in and then deleting the character just so that we have that block. At least that's what it's like in my head. Let me go save the scene before I do anything crazy. No, I've never seen that. I've never seen those. That sinking into the ground feeling, huh? I'll bring in idle 2 with my, hopefully that's remembered the animation import already, that all remembers that, doesn't it? So I'll just bring this in. This will also now be, this is just going to be called root here. And I don't intend to keep the character, I just intend to keep the animation itself. If ever it comes in. There we go. Perfect. That's the same guy, but he just breathes, which is fine. So I don't want him again in here, but I think what I might be able to do is go into that, change that back to that, like the crazy professors do. And with that, whoa, no, that's not what I want. Dope sheet, come on, dope sheet, there we go. Now we have that, and I'll just call this one idle 2. And I don't necessarily want to push it onto any NLA tracks. I'll try stashing it instead. Store this action in the NLA stack as a non-contributing strip for later use. That's exactly what I want to do. So stash, keyframes go away, and dude can now pause mode, yes, sorry. Dude can now go, and also, you know, really go there. So now if I go and bring in my police woman and place her opposite my policeman and give her the other animation, that'd be kind of cool. Let's try it out. So that is now on the Blender exports, police woman FBX. And for that, I can go and use my, is that animation import? No, that's the Blender export thing, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. Yes. That's, I need to rename that preset. I'll get confused too easily. I'll rename that from root to police woman. Haha. And I'll bring police woman into place. Or do I apply animation first? What did we just say? Bye, Walrus Pie. See you later. What did we say? Do we need to bring her into position first, or do we need to apply the animation first? I wasn't listening while I was talking. It made perfect sense then. Let's just move her and see what happens. First apply the animation. Or can we move her, put a keyframe, then apply the animation? I bet not. Apply the animation first, then move her. I have a feeling that's you're on the money there. Police woman, how you doing? Have you been idle today? You haven't? Great! Let's see if we can help you out there. So we have idle 2 here. That's awesome. Let's put that in. Oh my god, there she is. That's perfect. Now I'm going to go and push this down. That will create probably another NLA track. But we're professionals, we can handle it. Non-linear animation. Policeman, policewoman. There we go. There she is. On here, I'll just go and select that action clip where she's already idling around until frame 600. So I only need one repeat here. Let's do that. Now she's idling until frame 1200. That should be cool. And back here, let me go just warp myself back to policeman number 1 and see if we can bring policewoman to you. G, Shift Z, there she is. And perhaps she's just idling around kind of here. And then we rotate her, whoops, RZ, because you know she's also not entirely sure what Fat Elvis is doing on the other side of the road here, maybe. And before we forget, let's put a keyframe here. Oh, rotational keyframe has not been set because, oops, RZ to about here. I forgot to do that. I, keyframe. Now they're both animating. I mean, slowly. This is not 60 frames a second, but really, if I go and deselect, then I just gonna select something else. I don't know, anything, but this maybe. We do have 2 animating characters, and it wasn't actually that big a deal, I must say. And even though she moves, she barely moves, she does move. And yet they move. I like it, I like it. I'm thinking, it depends on how long this takes. I would just like to see the first, I'm gonna go and switch to my second camera. So not my moving camera, I'm gonna switch to my stills camera. And then I'll just set that camera up on these 2 guys and just render a few frames out in Eevee at a low resolution. I just want to see what that looks like on loop. I always forget this, man. I always forget this. How do I make it's this view, isn't it? Cameras, set active object as camera. There, perfect. And while Fat Elvis is nice to look at, we'll go and look at someone else. There. Look at these guys. That's the stills camera, and then if I put that into Eevee now, yes, it's almost real time in the preview already. Let me just go and render the first, I don't know, maybe like 200 frames here. Let's do that, 200 frames. At 50% resolution. 30 frames a second is fine, we can do that. And let's do that on my desktop here. And I'll call these guys just police. And that's not a PNG. I'm just going to go and make just a rough AVI here. 30 frames and maybe at frame 200. And save my scene. And render the animation. See how long it takes. Yeah, so we're talking like, 2 seconds a frame. That's good, that's good. He is testing the concrete, yes. I think so too. Or if we do feel they look static, we just move them, just move their position, just do a quick keyframe rotation from here to there. It literally keeps the overhead down if you have a ton of characters. Like somebody on the balcony, or somebody walking, like Ian Hubert showed this in this massive crowd scene. You can literally get away with doing 2 frames, like frame 1 and frame 2, and then just have that over like 4,000 people, and you've got a crowd moving. Then you can have a little variation in each person, so they're all moving at a different speed, and that's enough for us mere mortals to think, hey, that's 1,000 different people. I'll test it out. It'll be good. it's just so much work, isn't it? You just have to hang in there, and it's just so much work. "50 frames, 140 odd to go." Yes, that might work. So I wonder then if you had this in a game engine, if we think about a game like Grand Theft Auto, where you have people like that walking around the city and they mutter to themselves and they each of them walk a little bit differently, you just have them spawn outside of vision, do their thing, and then as long as they're on screen, they just do this thing. If you bump into something like a window, you just turn around and all that. So all these if-then statements, I guess, are in there, and then it just comes out as this living, breathing city. It's nice, isn't it? I wonder. I'm just curious. Why don't we see any shadows here on the EV preview? What have I not done correctly? I could have used ambient occlusion, I guess, but that's okay. There's probably something with the HDRI that I should have baked or whatnot. Luckily, I don't know anything about it, so maybe one day. There's just so much to learn before before you know anything. I still think I really have no clue about Blender, and but judging by the results, I know bits and pieces disconnected here and there, and they kind of work for me. I'm sure it's not the right way of doing things, but it's certainly fun. Sometimes that's what it's all about, I guess. Right, that kind of scripting, that's what I mean, Dreamlab. That must be. I wonder if we can make that happen. Again, just from a purely exploratory point of view, that just be interesting to delve into that. How can we make these people react when people walk by and look at them too long or something, you know? Indeed, Rod, exactly. That's true. If you compare that to other things, once you've reached the end of the journey, there's really no journey left. I remember Tekmon was saying that about a colleague he used to work with. That was in the beginning of the internet, when eBay had just been around for a few years, and so his colleague was collecting these car repair manuals. It's a good story, actually. He was collecting these car repair manuals, and he was driving all over the country in the UK and finding people through newspapers that have whatever, how to repair your Volkswagen Beetle from 1974, that model. And he needed to have that book because that's part of his collection. So he used to make trips out of it. So like, he found somebody who had it like 100 miles up the road, and he goes, "Oh, great. I'll go down there, visit a few pubs, take my wife, and we'll have a nice time, and we'll get the book, and we'll have nice lunch, and we go back home, and then next weekend I don't know, get a Porsche from 1987 and stuff like that." And it was his hobby. So some of these books were really difficult to get. So Techmon was suggesting, why don't you try eBay? And maybe you can track down these manuals from all over Europe, because, they're popular and eBay is popular and it's books, people chuck them out. And so he goes on eBay, and very quickly, within a matter of a year, completes his whole collection that had been his life for the last 20 or so. And while that was awesome for him to come to the end of the journey, it really robbed him of the fact that now he had nothing else to do. True story. If we'd figure out Blender or Poser or whatever else we're doing, it's boring, isn't it? Oh yeah, I've done it now. Played that game. Now I need a different game. It's almost like that, isn't it? Let's see what. How's there? Minimize. Here's the police animation. Let's see what it looks like in Eevee. So it's not, it does loop, but there'll be a cut in there. But I can see her breathing quite clearly, moving her fingers. It's very subtle. And him doing things. That's nice. I suppose it's at half the speed. I'm just realizing that I should have exported that at 60 frames a second. So it's half as fast as it should be. I don't know if I can I speed that up here? No, not in this. But it would be twice as fast. So I like it. It does work. Animation imported very quickly, fairly quickly. Now that we know how, I suppose we'll get faster. Good point, Steve. That's a very good point. Indeed, I must say, part of this whole crazy journey is indeed not knowing if something usable is going to come out at the other end. I guess I'm going to go and render all these things out. Now that we've got 2 more characters in there, a little bit of background action. We did a lot of housekeeping today. I'm going to render this out as another animatic, and I will put it up on the 3D Shenanigans channel. If you're not already subscribed, let me give you a tip. That is !3ds. That is my 3D Shenanigans channel. Thank you so much, Streamlabs, for popping that into the chat. I appreciate that. I'll be back just before the time change tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for more of this, I guess. And oh yes, actually, there's a question I was going to ask you. And thank you so much for everyone who's been looking at my YouTube community tab and voted on, shall I change my vanity URL on YouTube to WP Guru as well, or shall I leave it at the current The WP Guru? It has small implications in that existing links won't work anymore. So currently I'm youtube.com/The WP Guru. But of course, on platforms like here, on Twitch and on my website, I'm just WP Guru, and that saves 3 characters of typing. I don't know. Is it worth changing it on YouTube or not? So far, the consensus is it doesn't matter. Or yes, change it. There's a tie between yes, please change it, and it doesn't matter. And a couple of people said, please don't do it. Don't touch it at all. So I think since that's the majority, it doesn't matter / don't do it. I'm going to go with that. I'm just going to leave everything as it is. So if you have an opinion on that, have a look on my YouTube community tab. And so that's one thing. The other thing is, I was wondering what you think about this idea. So another idea. Since these 3D streams on Twitch are going really well, and I can't multi-stream being an affiliate here on Twitch, I'm thinking ahead that it's easier for different audiences to look at different things. I'm thinking of doing game streams as a multi-stream or doing them directly to Mixer. It seems to have come good again. It seems to work again. It might be an idea to do different things on different channels. So while I could do 3D streams and game streams on this channel, it might not speak to all audiences. So there are people who like the game streams, there are people who like the 3D streams, but they are 2 different audiences. So some of you like both, but not all of you do. And I understand that and I appreciate that. So I was wondering what you think of the idea that going forward we do game streams on Mixer, or multi-stream them on Mixer, DLive, and YouTube, or whatever we want to do, and keep the 3D streams only on Twitch. I'm thinking that might be a cool idea. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment here, drop me a line on Discord, and other than that, let's meet again, fresh and frolicking, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time before the clocks change. Bye-bye, and have a good night.